Yeah, right. All right, for everybody else. So today we got what's this? Thursday the 29th. And here we go with today's daily news and hot topics. I'm not sure what hot topics is going to be like, so you're going to have to catch me live on Instagram to get that experience. But in terms of daily news, we're going to cover stimulus. I got fun facts about white supremacy and its structure. I want to give you an update on Philly. And of course, I think we should talk about permission slips to go outside. Yes, welcome to Homeroom, everybody. So, first, your stimulus check. Listen, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it before the election for sure. And depending on who wins, we're not even sure what it's going to look like. But I will tell you this, your girl Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, I asked this in another episode, but I'll ask it again. I'm thinking about doing a how the infrastructure of the houses and senates and how it all works. So if you want Thompson's spin on basic government infrastructure and who all these players are in context, let me know in the comments below. But Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House. The House is controlled by the Democrats. Democrats are being critical of our girl Nancy, saying that she should have taken the deal. She should have taken the deal. And I wonder if this heat is politics. Is another Democrat making a play for Speaker of the House? It's almost guaranteed that the Democrats will retain control of the House. They might gain control of the Senate. And so I wonder if there's some young, ambitious Democrat who's looking to make a play for Speaker of the House by levying these criticisms. Now, some of those criticisms are well placed. For example, she's looking for non-COVID related expenses in the COVID bill. That's ripe for criticism and ripe for corruption, right? And I wonder what you guys think about this. Another another criticism that she's gotten is the idea that there is accounting for undocumented people. They are people. Should they be accounted for? They need care. They suffer from COVID. COVID is no respecter of documentation. But the Republicans are certainly arguing that it shouldn't be that way. This money coming from American taxpayers should be for Americans. So anyway, one of the consequences that we're struggling with, though, is I'm telling y'all, 30 to 60 days, it's going to go down. It's going to be cold outside. And all of these programs that came from the first stimulus are going to start winding up. For example, unemployment benefits. Several states still have extension from the federal government, maybe up to $400 extra on unemployment. And it has been extended longer than normally is. That's winding up in 30 to 60 days. So those benefits are going to close down. Eviction protection is going to close down. So you give that 30 to 60 days and you might get yourself 90 more days before the sheriff comes after that. But we will start to see a rise in homelessness and couch surfing. And then the forbearance for student loans is also coming to a close. So things are shifting. Now let's talk about my boy Trump. Boy, fun facts about white supremacy. I'm going to get to that at the bottom of this segment. So here's the question I have been struggling with. Is Trump going to sneak the black vote, y'all? Is there momentum among the black community for Trump? In the black community, is there such a anti-Biden sentiment? What is he going to do for us that when members of the black community look at the choice between the two bad choices, are they choosing Trump? Is it the devil that you know? Is the battle plan clear for Trump? Boy, I'm just going to offer some sources for you to look into it for yourself. But I've recently seen videos of some relatively influential black preachers coming out in support of Trump. As you know, the black attorney general on the Breonna Taylor case is black and carrying water for the white power structure. But listen, Candace Owens, I respect Candace. We disagree, but I got a lot of respect for her, for Anthony Bryan Logan. Like, these conservative voices are not dummies, you know, and so I can give them that much credit. And then you see Ice Cube meeting with the president. You see movements like Blexit. You see Black Voices for Trump. They just had a visit not too long ago. Listen, I wonder if there is a quiet surprise waiting from the black community in terms of how well he does with Trump. I can't sleep on it. Also, Jared Kushner gives us a big reveal on what season 2 of the Trump era would look like. Think of Trump as the reality TV president. I think that's the best way to frame him. And for season 2 of his presidency, it looks like he's going to do the hero. The opening up of the country will be the main narrative, and they're going to really try to position him in that light as the superhero who got the country back on track. But, I'm sure that at least 7 of his supporters in Ohio are going to need time to warm up to that idea. Trump just had a rally in Ohio, bro. The problem is the location of the rally at the airport where they like to do it is like 3 miles from the closest airport. So when they were busing people in, it was easy, right? Because people trickle in, you fill up a bus, and then they all come. The problem is they didn't have a good contingency plan for the reverse, because now everybody's in one place and they're all ready to go back at the same time. So these buses took long. People were waiting for hours. Hours, bro. At least 7 people had to go to the hospital behind it being so cold. All right, but here's a fun fact that I just found in my research. Did you know that our three of our Supreme Court justices, that would be Amy Coney Barrett, that would be Brett Kavanaugh, and that would be John Roberts, were all attorneys on the Bush team when Bush was going against Gore during that election debacle. And they litigated Bush into office. Now, these 3 lawyers for that side are sitting on the Supreme Court. And I wonder, if you would please let me know in the comments, do you see this as like, how do I say? I wrote it down as, will these justices litigate a win for Trump even though Biden gets the count? That's what I'm wondering, if they are in position as the third branch. Listen, they are quote unquote a co-equal partner. That's why I want to do the Saturday school. So let me know about that. But they could litigate Trump into office despite what happens. Through what? Obviously, we've already got a lot of voter suppression going on. And I want to talk about that as well. But what I will say is it can go into the courts and they can throw out a lot of votes. The votes that come late, they can start throwing them out. There's a way to target a batch of votes that would be beneficial for the Republicans, bad for the Democrats. Since we're talking about that, I thought I had some. No, apparently not. Let's get into sports right quick. This will be fun. So first, the University of Wisconsin, Wisconsin University, had to cancel some games behind the fact that about 12 people related to the team got sick, including the head coach. And then what's up with your boy from the Dodgers? I'm not no sports guy. I only get them when they pop up. So apparently Justin Turner, the third baseman, got confirmed COVID and was out there pouncing around on the field sometimes without his mask. Like, come on, bro. Get it together. And since I'm talking about that, I might as well give you an update on the hurricane. Of course, I got a lot of people in New Orleans. I went to Xavier University in New Orleans, and so I'm familiar with the hurricane lifestyle. What I have found is it's been about 100 years since a hurricane of that magnitude has hit the area this late in the season. We should be winding down, but we are on pace for a record-breaking 27. Hurricane Zeta is 27th named hurricane this season. The record, since we've been keeping records, is 28. So it is possible that we could either match or break the record this year. So big shout out and thoughts and prayers go to the folks out there. And while I'm talking about the environment, did you guys know that your boy Trump has just released some restrictions that will allow for deforestation of one of the most pristine national forests out there in Alaska? So Alaska may soon see some logging, some road building, and some deforestation happening out there during the second term. The trees, the wolves, the bears. Let me know if you want me to do a Saturday school on ecosystems. I love to do my unit on biology, and talking about the beautiful balance that you find in an ecosystem is something that I could also do a Saturday school event on. Let's talk about COVID. So permission slips, huh? Let's see. Chicago has banned all indoor dining. What does that mean? California out here, we are a bit privileged, right? Because we haven't done indoor dining, but they have just converted parking lots into outdoor dining, and things seem to be going on. The problem is in Chicago when yesterday, if you wanted to go to the restaurant, you couldn't do outdoor dining because it was snowing, and you can't do indoor dining. So can you imagine what's going to happen in Chicago to the restaurant business? Besides the to-go business, and the poor folks that have to offer the delivery, business is going to be bad. And so what's up with the stimulus package, which brings me back to Nancy Pelosi and the criticism that she should have cut a deal because people need to check right now. So anyway, we also see a big spike in COVID regarding Wisconsin, Ohio, Minnesota, Michigan, North Dakota, Tennessee. And then I started thinking about my coverage of Trump, and I'm thinking about all the places that he's been gathering large amounts of people that don't wear a mask and aren't socially distanced. Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Minnesota, North Dakota, Tennessee. So is Trump the super spreader? Is Trump bringing people together, albeit outdoors, but clearly there's a culture of optional mask going on? Is he actually creating a spread where 2 weeks later, after he's gone off to the next place, 2 weeks later, you see this significant rise? Whew. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a game. So what could we be facing? At its most draconian, France, I think, would take the record. They have now implemented a permission slip lockdown. The only reasons that you could leave your house would be if you're going to work, if you have a medical appointment, if you need to assist a relative, if you need to shop for essential goods, and if you just need to get air, you can stay around your house. These departures, you can be accosted and detained by the police, and based on the permissions that you have, you will be allowed to travel freely. This is certainly not the American way, and so it will be very interesting when you see the I don't even want to call them patriots, the narcissism of our white terrorist cells out here, and then the suppression of these white boys' rights, boy. Anyway, big spikes across the world. Germany, Iran, Mexico are all having serious spikes. So there is that. Oh, by the way, Trump has a space force. There are now 6 independent branches of the military. I'll give you the quick list so you know. Air Force, Marine Corps, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, and now space. So John Shaw was unanimously confirmed as the Lieutenant General of Trump's Space Force. And then pretty much immediately after that, I thought it was actually Amy Coney Barrett, which was their last piece of business. That would have been so poetic. But in fact, it looks like the Space Force was really it. ICE is giving up $100,000 over to Migrants for Justice. There was a lawsuit because ICE, well, let's say they settled the suit, but they were under lawsuit because of their illegal practices of targeting members of Migrants for Justice. And they went so far as to take these activists and put them in line against protocol through deportation as a way of political punishment. So that's definitely not cool. And Philly, I kind of been waiting to do Philly for last. So if you're still here, you're about to get my view. Now, I thought I had something about these white boys, but yeah, here we go. So Philly, here's the name I want you to put onto your radar list in case it comes around. His name is Anthony Smith. He's a civil rights activist. He was recently abducted by the federal agents. They have not told anyone why, as of this recording at least, why they have abducted him. But is it any coincidence that he is significantly involved in the case of Walter Wallace Jr. organizing protests and getting folks out there? Walter Wallace Jr. is a 27-year-old American citizen who was, having a mental episode. And the police, after laughing and mocking him, decided that he was a threat to them, and they shot him at least 10 times. So now the guy who's kind of organizing things out there in Philly is also disappeared. So there have been some protests, there have been some fires, but while I acknowledge the looting and the fires, which happened apparently on the margins, according to the research that I've done, I've also found research and evidence that these white male terrorist cells are sending agents out to these peaceful protests to do looting and to start fires. One guy was recently charged with shooting up a police precinct, clear white terrorists, under the guise of the peaceful protests in regards to Black lives. And so we have to be really careful. Also, since we're talking about Philly, you know that they were doing a sweep. They botched another arrest. Here the police. I'm going to try to put a link so you can see the video for yourself. But the police are sweeping the block. Here's this one poor car, can't get out of the way because the people and the cops, and there's a lot going on. After they sweep him, right? I mean, how many of you guys have played enough video games to know how to do this safely? You let your front line continue on with the sweep, and the cops in the back are the ones who would then take and conduct the arrest. But that's not what happened. Apparently, the cops on the front line started beating this car, breaking all the glass, pulled the person out, got them arrested. There was a little child in a car seat, apparently, who was bathed in glass because of the shenanigans of these police officers. I mean, just a botched job from some guys who are power hungry and easily threatened. And so the idea of reforming the police is certainly something that is on the agenda. The governor of Virginia has followed Florida and Oregon by banning the no-knock warrant. It is now being nicknamed Breonna's Law, which is now preventing police from using the no-knock warrant as a technique for breaching a property. So I guess the cops are going to have to find another way to get us caught up. So let's see. Today is Thursday. What I want to do is to re-emphasize some of the key messages that we've been talking about this week. Remember that we're shifting into a new economy. And so the gig economy, the hustle economy, the idea of creating money based on your social influence is definitely trending. And I think a lot of young people are attracted to that. So always remember, if you have a social media account, you've got to be thinking of it as a leveraging tool, as a way to get you to income, right? It's a pretty good way too. And so if you can figure out how to work your network and use the algorithm to your benefit, you definitely want to do that. Something else that I covered this week is the idea that it is us. We are the ones who are really holding some power here. And while things are in chaos and in transition, we have got to figure out how to work better together so that we can get the things that we want. And so I just want to remind you that while we're in a difficult time, I see a land full of opportunity. And while I'm excited about what may come, I know that the road is not going to be easy. But as Frederick Douglass tells us, you can't expect the crops without tilling the land. You can't expect the rain without the thunder that comes with it. And so if we are going to get what we want, we've got to struggle for it, because power concedes nothing without a demand. All right, fam, I'm out. Peace, 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 peace.